Hi, my name is Otto Kemp. This is my informational interview presentation. I plan on going into financial planning or something in the field of finance. So let's get into it. My A little bit of a preview and background about who I interviewed. I interviewed Taylor Crick, who is the senior planning manager at TaylorMade Golf. He went from professional baseball to financial planning, and we'll get a little bit more into his road and his role road to TaylorMade and his role in TaylorMade a little bit later in the presentation. And Tom Craig, who is the Senior Director of Finance in the North American region at TaylorMade Golf. So two employees at TaylorMade who are both in the finance department, but happen to do two separate roles. So we'll get into the two and see which one I like better. Uh, at TaylorMade Golf, just a little bit of a background about the company. They create high performance golf equipment. So they are located in Carlsbad, California, and they have a team of around 500 employees who from all around the world. And this is a huge corporation in which, and it's very well known in the golf community. They create irons, woods, any type of golf equipment that you can think of. They make it apparel. They actually were bought out by Adidas, so they are partnered with Adidas, and they make their apparel in that. And so their mission statement is that they're driven by the pursuit of product innovation and reaching new thresholds of performance. So they value themselves on being the top competitor, and they hold that to a very, very high standard throughout the company. And this is very, very evident in the company culture just through talking through to these two individuals. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go see the facility, which would have been awesome because they have a lot of professional athletes going in there and training because they have a facility in there for these professional sponsors to try out their new line of products and just see which irons, which drivers they like, and which would suit them the best. With accompanied with a lot of testing equipment so that they can create and really specialize this equipment for these professionals. So like I said, they're sponsoring these professional golfers, and one of their biggest names is Tiger Woods. Most people who know sports know Tiger Woods. He's kind of the phenom of golf, and has been ever since he was a little kid. But they value themselves on getting some of the top tier athletes in the golf community, and they work to get these. They sponsor these athletes. So they'll actually provide a contract where they use TaylorMade clubs and TaylorMade apparel. So then whenever you see them on tour on TV, they'll be wearing TaylorMade. And they're not allowed to wear anything else. So it's kind of cool just to have these employees have a little bit of a personal relationship with these individuals. And they value themselves on having the number one driver in golf. So this is it's cool because I personally use a TaylorMade driver just because of our connections here at TaylorMade. But it is a very quality piece of equipment, and you can tell that they put a lot of thought and effort into this. So a little bit about Taylor Craig was the first individual that I interviewed. He is the senior planning manager at TaylorMade Golf. He manages planners and executes financial targets. So TaylorMade will create within any line of their equipment or apparel, they will create a financial target that they need to hit by selling these in greenhouse and on course. So I'll get into that a little bit later. But Taylor is in charge of a team there who they are supposed to execute these financial targets that TaylorMade gives them. And before TaylorMade, he was in the Marlins organization. He played baseball at Cal State Long Beach, was a communications major, and didn't know what path he wanted to take. But he ended up having a connection at TaylorMade and really equates his work and sees the value in his collegiate baseball experience just because it relates a lot to the culture there at TaylorMade. So his job responsibilities is he leads the team. He's the leader of these financial marketing teams or financial sales teams, and so he manages these leaders and they report to him so that he can report to his bosses. So it's a little bit of a chain of communication, but he is overall in charge of these sales, the financial sales targets that they're trying to hit. He manages his own team of planners as well. So it's a little bit of a chain, but follow me here. Um, he is the overarching manager. He has a team below him, and then the team below them is who. Those are like the kind of the newbies to this sales department, and so you can see why communication is such a big role in this. So that's why he really explained and emphasized the importance of his communication background. Like I said, they execute these financial targets. And so the lessons that he's learned so far is to not be afraid and to be wrong, but to be ready to back it up. This culture that TaylorMade has created is a little bit of almost cutthroat in a sense, is what the kind of vibe that I got. He was really emphasizing the fact that we should be curious and not be afraid to be wrong, but if we have a strong point, to back it up. And because we both play baseball, he really related the mental game of baseball to me. But just being able to, when these targets need to be hit within a certain deadline, just to slow everything down in stressful situations. So I really enjoyed that part of it, just because it makes it relatable to life. And he also emphasized the importance of these lean process improvement classes, and he said that TaylorMade will actually send some of their new employees to these classes, and they're actually at San Diego State. So it's just a couple-week class where they improve the process, like they improve their communication skills, how to work in a team. But he said these are really valuable, and he would really recommend going to one of these and being enrolled in one of these before I start my future job. So my takeaway is that I would really like to work in this situation or in this job, just because it sounds really fast paced, and like he's always got someone tugging on his arm in certain directions. So I really enjoy this factor of it, and I think I could see myself working in this position, but I don't think I would be spending my whole life in this position. I think I would like to graduate to something a little bit, or graduate to a different role. I don't see myself executing these financial targets for the rest of my life. I would like to be involved a little bit more in the planning side of things. So my second individual from TaylorMade was Tom Craig. Tom Craig is the Senior Director of Finance at TaylorMade Golf. He has a bachelor's degree from San Diego State, and really emphasized his start from the bottom to the top. He worked as like a sales marketing type, which is right at the bottom. And he was there for 10 years and really emphasized how he's seen the culture and company change within these last 10 years and grow. After his 10 years, and he obviously was promoted within those 10 years pretty quickly. It seemed like every two years he started in a new position, but he transferred to a software company. But then realized after 3 years that he wanted to return back to TaylorMade because he loved the culture that was there, and he was really passionate about golf. So his job responsibilities, has a little bit bigger of a role there. He manages greenhouse and off-course stores. So greenhouse stores are any of the pros. So whenever you go to a golf course, there's a pro shop, and they sell any type of clubs from tons of different brands. So TaylorMade happens to be in those, and he manages those stores and off-course stores like the Dick's Sporting Goods, the Sports Chalets when they were open, but any major sporting goods store. He manages a leader of finance team. He's the leader of these finance teams. They will create reports weekly, monthly, daily even, and he will report this back to the CFO, and then he creates and executes financial targets as well. He actually filled in for the CFO of TaylorMade just because he had left, and just said that there were tons of sleepless nights and a lot of extra work that he needed to do to fill into this CFO role temporarily. So he's a little bit of a big shot there at TaylorMade. He emphasized being curious and asking questions. Being curious just means that you're listening, you're engaged. He mentioned being passionate and really emphasized being passionate about your job, because if you're passionate about your job, you will do anything to succeed. And he also said you will need to work hard and make sacrifices on a pretty consistent basis. So my takeaway is that I would love to work in this position because of the different aspects that he works with. and all the type of like the roles that he takes on, and the how different, like managing greenhouse stores to creating these targets that you need to fix. It just seems like he's tugged around in a lot of different directions, and I would love to be involved in something that kind of widespread. So thank you for listening, and